Hey everyone, welcome back. Over the next several days, the United States will be facing a series of powerful winter storms, bringing heavy snow, ice, and even severe weather, including tornadoes, to various regions across the country. The current period of relative calm will soon be interrupted as a significant influx of Pacific moisture combines with cold air surging down from Canada, setting the stage for a prolonged period of active and potentially dangerous weather. From the Great Plains to the Mid-Atlantic and even into parts of the Deep South, millions of people will be affected by these storms, with widespread travel disruptions, power outages, and hazardous road conditions expected. At the moment, conditions remain mostly quiet across the country, with only a few isolated areas experiencing light precipitation. However, this calm will not last much longer. A developing system moving in from the Pacific will begin to generate an expansive area of precipitation that will first impact the Central Plains before pushing eastward into the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic by late tonight into early tomorrow morning. While some regions may remain dry for another 12 to 24 hours, the atmosphere is already primed for the arrival of this storm, and winter storm watches have already been issued across multiple states, including Kentucky, Virginia, West Virginia, Delaware, and New Jersey. Additional watches are in place for parts of the Central Plains, with the likelihood of further expansions in the coming days as the system strengthens and spreads across a wider area. By midweek, we could see winter storm warnings issued for even larger portions of the Midwest, Northeast, and Southern Great Lakes, highlighting the growing concern over the potential for heavy snowfall and ice accumulation. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. As the storm system intensifies, an extensive band of snow, rain, and freezing rain will develop across the central United States. By tonight, light to moderate snowfall is expected to break out across parts of Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and Kentucky, with additional light snow beginning to form over portions of Nebraska and Kansas. While this initial wave of snowfall may not be particularly heavy, it will be the first of several rounds of winter precipitation impacting these regions over the next few days. For those in the Central Plains who may not see significant snowfall from this initial system, additional opportunities for accumulating snow will arrive later in the week as multiple disturbances track across the region. Meanwhile, in the Southern Plains and into the Dixie Valley region, heavy rain will begin to develop, with prolonged periods of precipitation expected from Tuesday through Saturday. The persistent nature of this rainfall will elevate the risk of flash flooding, especially as the storm system intensifies and moisture surges northward from the Gulf of Mexico. As we move into Tuesday night and early Wednesday morning, the heaviest snowfall will begin to take shape over the Mid-Atlantic, impacting states such as Kentucky, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware. At the same time, freezing rain will begin to develop in parts of northern North Carolina and southern Virginia, creating hazardous travel conditions and increasing the potential for ice accumulation. By Wednesday morning, moderate snowfall will continue across the Mid-Atlantic while freezing rain persists over portions of Virginia and North Carolina. Although some areas may experience a brief lull in precipitation by Wednesday afternoon, this will only be a temporary reprieve as the next winter storm begins to take shape over the Central Plains by Wednesday evening. This second storm system will be even stronger than the first, bringing widespread heavy snowfall and an expanded area of freezing rain and sleet. By Wednesday night into early Thursday morning, snowfall will intensify over eastern Kansas and northern Missouri, while freezing rain spreads across Oklahoma, northern Arkansas, and southern Missouri. As the storm tracks eastward, heavy snow will move into the Midwest and Great Lakes, with accumulating ice continuing to pose significant concerns across southeastern Missouri, southern Illinois, and western Kentucky. By Thursday, the storm system will continue its push into the northeast, bringing heavy snowfall to central and northern New England, while southern portions of the region experience a mix of snow, sleet, and freezing rain. Cities such as Boston, Albany, and Buffalo could see substantial snowfall totals, while areas farther south, including Philadelphia and Washington, D.C., may experience more of a wintry mix before transitioning to snow. By late Thursday night, the system will begin to exit the region, leaving behind only lingering flurries and light snow showers. However, the active weather pattern will persist, and yet another major winter storm is expected to develop by the weekend. As we approach the weekend, an intense atmospheric river event will set the stage for another powerful storm system. This time, heavy Pacific moisture will surge inland along the west coast before tracking over the Rocky Mountains, fueling the development of a broad area of precipitation. By Friday night into Saturday, widespread snow will break out across the Great Lakes, Midwest, and parts of the Northeast, with freezing rain again becoming a significant concern for portions of the mid-Atlantic. At the same time, a developing low-pressure system in the deep south will introduce the potential for severe weather, including damaging winds, hail, and tornadoes. While the exact placement of this severe weather threat remains uncertain, current model guidance suggests that areas from eastern Texas to Georgia could be at risk for strong storms and possible tornadoes by Saturday afternoon. As the storm continues its eastward progression into Sunday, snow will persist across the Northeast, with additional accumulation likely in parts of New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Depending on how quickly cold air filters in behind the system, some locations in the mid-Atlantic could see a late transition to snow before precipitation comes to an end. By Sunday night, the storm will begin to exit the region, with improving conditions expected as we move into the start of the following week. Snowfall and ice accumulation totals will vary significantly across different regions, with some areas expected to receive substantial amounts of precipitation. In the Mid-Atlantic, snowfall accumulations of 2 to 4 inches will be common, with higher totals of 4 to 8 inches likely in parts of northern Kentucky, West Virginia, northern Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware. Some isolated locations could see as much as 10 inches, particularly in higher elevation. In New Jersey, snowfall totals of 3 to 6 inches are expected, with the highest amounts occurring in the southern part of the state. Ice accumulation will be a major concern for central and western Virginia, as well as parts of West Virginia, where some areas could receive up to a quarter inch of ice. While this may not be enough to cause widespread power outages, untreated roads will become dangerously slick, leading to hazardous travel conditions. Now let's talk about Boston. Reports so far show between 5 to 6 inches, and as I'm filming this, it's still snowing. By the time it wraps up, we'll likely see totals in the 6 to 8 inch range, which is right in line with our forecast. New York City, on the other hand, got around 3 to 4 inches, but that didn't last long. Warmer air quickly melted it away. One area that saw less snow than anticipated was western Massachusetts and parts of Connecticut, where many spots only ended up with about 3 to 4 inches. So if anyone felt shortchanged by this storm, it was probably you guys. All right, so with that storm clearing out, let's turn our attention to what's next. The next winter storm is set to ramp up in just a couple of days on February 11th. Right now, there's a slight risk of significant winter weather stretching from West Virginia, Virginia, and Maryland up into New Jersey, as well as back toward Kansas. By early Tuesday morning, we'll see wintry precipitation spreading quickly from Kansas through the Ohio Valley. Snow will begin falling in Kansas, Denver, and St. Louis, though it won't be a major blizzard, just some light snowfall. Meanwhile, wintry precipitation will extend from Missouri down into the mountains of North Carolina and Virginia. One key concern is the potential for a significant sleet and freezing rain event in southwestern Virginia by Tuesday afternoon. At the same time, heavier snow will set up along the I-64 corridor from West Virginia into northern Virginia. South of that, heavy rain will be the main issue, with thunderstorms developing in Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi. By early Wednesday, snow will push into the D.C.-Baltimore area and parts of Delaware before the system exits. But even before that wraps up, yet another storm will already be developing. Now let's look at snowfall expectations through Wednesday morning. Kansas will likely see 1 to 3 inches, with some spots in Nebraska getting a little more. Missouri, including St. Louis, probably won't see much accumulation, maybe just a light dusting. The same goes for Lexington, Cincinnati, and Louisville. Expect an inch or less. Snow totals get a bit more significant in the mid-Atlantic. Northern Virginia and D.C. should end up with 2 to 4 inches, and Toms River, New Jersey, could see a similar amount. Originally, this storm looked more intense, but as we get closer, it's shaping up to be a quick burst of snow rather than a full-fledged winter storm. One thing to keep an eye on is ice accumulation. In the mountains of southwestern Virginia, there's potential for over a quarter inch of ice by Wednesday morning, which could lead to hazardous road conditions and possible power outages. And that brings us to storm number 3. This one looks like it will be the most significant of the series. Right now, there's about a 40% chance of a major winter storm impacting areas from eastern Kansas through Missouri, Illinois, and into Chicago and Detroit, Indianapolis, southern Ontario. You're all included in this as well. This system is expected to unfold between February 13th and 14th. As the smaller storm exits the East Coast, this much larger system will start taking shape. There's even a possibility of some severe weather in Texas, but the main story will be the heavy snowfall. Kansas and southern Iowa will be the first to see accumulating snow. This storm is going to rapidly intensify as it moves northeast, meaning anyone on the cold side of the system is in for heavy snow. Sleet or ice, while those on the warm side will see heavy rain and thunderstorms. Chicago looks almost guaranteed to get significant snow from this one. Indianapolis, Detroit, and Cleveland, you're also in the mix, but with warmer air nearby, there's a chance that snow could mix with sleet or freezing rain at times. St. Louis, the same goes for you. As this storm moves further north, it's looking less likely to bring major snow to cities like Boston and New York, meaning this will be more of a Midwest and Great Lakes snowstorm rather than a Northeast event. But we're not done yet. Another storm is already lining up right behind it. This next system will develop on the West Coast, bringing another round of heavy snowfall to the Sierra as we head into February 13th and 14th. As it moves east, it will dump significant snow in Utah and western Colorado around Valentine's Day. Eventually, it will meet up with Gulf moisture and form yet another system for the East Coast by February 15th, 16th. So, yeah, the winter weather pattern is staying very active, and I don't think it's slowing down anytime soon. Now, let's take a look at the overall snowfall projections for the next 200 hours. Keep in mind, this is an estimate, and not all of this snow will fall at once. But as you can see, Chicago could end up with well over a foot when you combine snowfall from multiple storms. The heaviest snow bands will likely be concentrated in the Midwest, Great Lakes, and mountain regions out west, where some areas could see up to 80 inches over the next 7 days. And remember, it's not just the snow we need to watch. The southern side of these storms will bring heavy rain and possibly severe weather. While it's still too early to pinpoint the exact severe threats, flooding is definitely something to be concerned about, especially from Louisiana through Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee. If you live in a flood-prone area, now is the time to prepare. Some spots could see 8 to 10 inches of rain in the coming week, which could lead to flash flooding and even river flooding in some areas. That's it for today's update. Things are really ramping up, and I'll have another forecast for you tomorrow. I'm also considering going live for the big Midwest and Great Lakes storm, so make sure you've got notifications turned on so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next update.